Marko, Juras here from Realty. Welcome to my Real Estate Mythbuster series. This time around I'm talking about do listing realtors actually sell the properties they list? And looking at the statistics in Victoria, BC, 90% of the time the answer is no. 90% of the time the selling agent, so the agent that brings the buyer to purchase the property, is not the listing realtor. 10% of the time, the listing realtor is the selling realtor, but that 10% of the time, usually what happens is a buyer sees the property on realtor.ca, they call the listing realtor, and it sells. But the important thing to remember is 90% of the time, a different agent, the selling agent, brings the buyer. And why is this? Well, it's the way the system works. Listing realtor puts up the property on MLS. Immediately, 1,199 other realtors in Victoria can see that because there's approximately 1,200 realtors in total. And those, the odds are that those other 1,199 realtors have the buyer. The listing realtor is only one realtor. What are the odds that he or she has the buyer? And if he or she has the buyer, they don't really need to list the property. So if the property gets sold on average 90% of the time by a different selling agent, begs the question, why is the commission split half and half? It doesn't really make a lot of sense that you're paying the listing agent traditionally half the commission when the statistics clearly indicate 90% of the time the selling agent is a completely different agent. So that's a myth, I would like to debunk a bit. I go to a lot of listing presentations and sellers ask me, well, do you work for buyers looking for this particular type of home, etc. What I tell them, it doesn't really matter because there's one of me, 1,199 other realtors. The odds are one of the other 1,199 realtors has the buyer. That's why you're putting it on the multiple listing service, is to employ the services of those other realtors that may have a potential buyer. And at the end of the day, if the pictures are good, the description is good, and the price is good, and finally the data input is correct, honestly, it doesn't really matter too much who you're listing with, because everyone's online looking, and the buyer is going to come with the selling agent anyway. So that's it for this time around. Marko, Juras, Realty.